America is a food desert, and that's a hill I'm willing to die on. That also says a lot, coming from someone like me. I am African. I'm originally from Cameroon, and we all know the stereotype that, TV likes to portray about Africa, the starving African kids. But I would argue that the real starving people are Americans because, because of the food industry in America. Um, the food industry has managed to change most food, real food that people used to have access to, into just chemical products we're putting in our bodies. And when your body is not getting the proper nutrients it needs, it automatically thinks that you're starving. And that is why a lot of the times it tends to retain a lot of, water, fat when in your body, even excessively, because it thinks that you're in scarcity. And when you're in scarcity, your body will hold on to everything that it can. But when you're actually eating like nutritious food, food that your body can use as actual fuel to do what it does best, continuing to heal you, take care of you. When there's an abundance of food like that, your body gets out of that scarcity mode and it's a lot easier for it to release weight. Now, of course, there's other factors that plays into it, but this is one of them. And that is why I will die on this hill and say that, yes, America is a food desert because there is no reason that we should work this hard, to like look to have access to nutritious meal. And this actually breaks my heart because a lot of times with the obesity problem in America, it's so easy to think that it's just you, it's all because of you, but then your environment plays a huge role in how you grow and you're nurtured. And if you're in an environment that is literally figuring all types of ways to like poison you, of course, you're going to fall into the same trap of eating the things that are not good for you, and then, having the plethora of problems that comes with it. And they are banking on that because the more sick you are, the more money they get to make off of you. Like that is just, it's just heartbreaking because I know I've been in that position where I felt like it was just me. I lacked discipline. I was never, I have zero self-control. But these people have spent billions of dollars to understand what will make you make food more addictive, make so that you can keep eating it. You know, food is something that, just like with alcohol and other substances, is something that can be abused. And for me, like people who are addicted to food even have my heart the most because with things like other substances like alcohol, or let's say even like social media or porn, whatever this, you can actually stop, you can stop like doing those. Like, but with food, you need food. You can't just say I'm not gonna eat, you know? So, like, like being faced with the one thing that like you use as a coping mechanism, but you can't completely quit it because, you need to survive, you need to live. So, all of that spew is to say that, it is not you, it is the food label, it's the food industry. The food industry creates food labels that are purposely designed to really confuse you, make you think that what you're eating is healthy. And, like what they've done is invest a lot of money into selling you products that look really healthy, even when the ingredients list tell a completely different story. So, in this series, I am going to be teaching y'all something that changed how I personally shop for food. This is something that I went personally researching on my own. I did take a nutrition class teaching a lot about this, how to really assess the food that you're eating so that you're more than likely actually choosing foods that, are going to help support you in your weight loss journey and not lie to you. And then you're wondering, why am I not losing weight? I'm drinking the protein they told me to drink. How come I'm still bloated? Like all these things, like they seem small, but make such a big difference. And, like I said, I'm going to teach you how to read the label so you can really tell what is actually healthy and not just pretending to be. Because of this one thing the food market does is tells lots of lies, stories, but the ingredients will always tell you the truth. So this is going to be the first video, and I'm going to be sharing my screen. I will go on the Target website, just going grocery shopping and we're just gonna take a look together at some of these ingredients lists, how you can spot some of these. And again, this is not to add another stressor to your plate. This is just so you can become more aware so that, when you have the option to choose something you know, to choose something that is going to help your body do what it needs it to do. Is one thing to think that, you know, you're doing all the right things when in reality you're not because you don't understand how to read the nutrition labels. So again, this is not to about restriction or stress. This is just about understanding exactly what it is you're actually eating. And in the next few videos, I'm going to be breaking down like how sugar hides in food, how to spot fake protein products, the truth about diet and some of these weight loss foods from like Weight Watchers and stuff. And I'll even sometimes, you know, I'll take you guys grocery shopping online or in person, but I feel like online doing it the Zoom way is easier so we can have a plethora of examples and I can even zoom into like the actual ingredients list versus like putting it in the camera and you're not actually able to read what is on there. So, but before we talk about any of that, what I want you to first understand is the one rule that makes reading ingredient labels easy. And basically, wait, let me see if I can start to share. Um, but anyways, when people usually shop for food, they usually look at front packages. Oh man, the front packages got a lot of story to tell, okay? That's where they get you. All these promises they write on the front package, um, they they're it doesn't tell the whole story. Maybe it is right with what they're saying, but then when you go back, when you actually go to the actual ingredients list, let me share my screen so I can show you. Um, yeah, boop, 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 share. Yep. Can you see my screen? Ah, ha, ha, ha. I'm the only one on here, so I don't know why I asked that question. But anyways, yes, this is a granola bar that we have here. And here you see how it says, organic chewy bars. And we all know like granola bars for years. I know growing up, like that was one of the main things that I would have as for breakfast or for snacks, or even someone who used to be an athlete in high school. I remember these are some of the foods that like the coach or even like some of the soccer moms they will bring, feed us, and the claim, especially like was it Nature Valley? Man, like the claims of how healthy, how much fiber, all of that had. And so like I really used to eat this thinking that like, oh, I'm doing something. But I'm not gonna lie, part of me was not completely sold because so one thing about me though, like the moment I taste sugar in something and I have very sensitive taste buds when it comes to sugar, my alarms do go off a little bit, but that's another story for another time. Anyways, if you see here, this is like the marketing, real chocolate, no compromise, ethically sourced, rich dark chocolate. Like, yes, like this sounds all really good to me. A chewy classic bar that hits the spot. USDA organic, no nuts, no gluten, always organic. This is where they get a lot of people. Organic, free from the top nine allergens, and to me, like if I saw this, I would genuinely think, this is something that I could definitely eat for sure. But one thing that now let's look at the actual ingredients list. Hmm. Oops. Now, if you look here, I don't know. I hope this is big enough. Dang. But I'll first go over it and try and see if I can zoom in. But yes, if you look at the ingredients list, look at the first. The first ingredients is free oats, agave syrup, chocolate chips, cane sugar, unsweetened chocolate, brown rice syrup, invert Rice Krispie, brown rice flour, brown rice syrup, sea salt, and more cane syrup, sunflower oil, vegetable extract, and all these extra stuff, and then places organic. One thing, the first when you're looking at a nutrition label, the first thing that I notice is how long are the ingredients list. If it's showing me multiple paragraphs like this, my alarm's already going off. And then when I take a closer look, and if I see the first three ingredients are like sugar, some type of syrup, or like flour, that usually means that the majority of the ingredients is actually refined flour. And I mean, is highly refined and is mainly contained with sugar. So let's say even if this was a product that like later on was listing all the other healthy stuff, like let's say it had like broccoli, blah blah blah, all these different vegetables, healthy stuff. But you see like a good amount of it, especially the first few ingredients is mainly sugar or some type of flour. Just know that most of that product is actually made from sugar. And then these are just extra additives to make it organic, to make it a little bit. So sometimes they'll emphasize the little health product that they have in there. And look here, like extracts. Should take mushrooms, spinach, beet, broccoli. Like these make up a small percentage of the ingredients list. And so these food companies too are smart, where sometimes too they will spread like the types of sugar within that. They'll spread it across the ingredients list to make it seem like there's not as much sugar. But baby, if you're seeing, there's at least 6 to 5 different ways to say sugar. Um, and that's how they get away with it. That's how sometimes when they say something is zero sugar, but then you're tasting something sweet, read that ingredients list, read it. It will tell you everything you need to know. And then you're gonna see that a lot of those claims tend to not tell you the whole story. And this is like something that is so crucial, especially on your weight loss journey, to really understand because these people are literally trying to poison us right in front of our eyes. And, this is how you take back your power. The system has not made it easy for us to maintain a healthy life. And then if you come from a marginalized community, they make it even 10 times harder for us to have access or even have the knowledge of how to choose, the better food, which is why even within the African American population, obesity is an even more is even higher within our community. Even as an immigrant, I'm grouping all of us under that blanket. Like when we come from Africa and migrate to the US, like that's how I knew, like, that's how like, there's something very different with the food because within a few months, someone will be very slim coming from Africa, but when they come to America, and sometimes their diet, especially when you live in the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia, so a huge, huge population of African people, and I love it. And sometimes because of that, we do have access to like some of our like traditional foods. But then when you start mixing it with some of these like American foods or even like something that you still eat, like bread, like the way bread is made even back home versus bread here, you find yourself eating stuff similar, but because of how America makes their product, the same food that you were eating back home will tend to blow you up. And then now people want to blame like the food that we've been eating, which again, I would argue a lot of African dishes tend to be a lot healthier than the average food that you will come across. And there's always ways to make that healthy, but I'm gonna I'm gonna show you all of that. Like this is why I created this channel. So you get to see that you have options so you can really take back your power from a country that makes it everywhere possible for you to not be your healthiest version. And so, let's see, I'm checking my notes, making sure I have covered everything. Oh, and this is not just, I think I have another example. This collard greens. I love me some collard greens, okay? Some of my Black American friends, they have been gracious enough to, introduce me to their Southern style food, and I generally do like enjoy eating. I didn't think, I would like it, but when I had it, I couldn't get enough. And a lot of the times, especially when I was in college, this was like one of the cans I would see some people use to cook. And you would think they're greens. Like greens are healthy, But when you start to take a closer look at the ingredients list, let's see here. Oh, actually, I didn't realize that it wrote it down here. So let me make sure. Just so y'all know I'm not BSing y'all. Um, yeah, this was the ingredients that I was trying to read earlier. You can pause and read, take a closer look if you want. But this is where I always focus. And also, I forgot to talk about serving size. Here it shows, so basically you got 12 grams of sugar, and here there's six, is 24 grams per serving size. I don't really look at this. I look at how many serving size because they're showing you this is one. This is what one bar would be. Now you have six. So if you're eating all six in one sitting, that is what? Six times 12. Two, six, 72. I'm sorry, guys. I haven't been in school in a very long time. Um, yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 I was right. I think it's 72. Okay, do not judge me if I got that wrong. But anyways, imagine like snacking on that and eating that much. I need you to look up how much 72 grams of sugar um is. And even if you're eating just like two, you know, that's already like a lot. And this is what people have for breakfast in the morning, or just as a snack, or you even give this to your kids, and we wonder why we are the state we are in, especially in this country, we wonder why our bodies is just not, even if like weight is not the issue, like your body doesn't store weight, but the stressor that comes from consuming all of this stuff, your body will hold on to it and process it in another way, which will affect you in different areas of your life. Because there are some people that just naturally have fast metabolisms. So this won't affect them as someone whose body tends to retain more fat. But there's other ways that sugar, affects our bodies and stuff like that. So I just wanted to show that example. And now we're back to the collard green, and here, if you look at the ingredients list, I mean, I feel like a lot of us have seen this, which is why I wanted to take a closer look. It's- the greens are there, water, less than 2% of sugar, salt, hydrolyzed protein, dry onions, dry peppers, vinegar, natural smoke, blah, blah, blah. Pork broth, country, ham broth, brown sugar, yeast extract. So again, you see here they're trying to prove that there's not that much sugar, but then here down there you have brown sugar. And then this hydrolyzed soy protein, this is already a sign that this is like processed. Granted, these other ingredients, some of the other ingredients here like would be fine. Like what does natural flavor even mean? So to me, things like this, when I read ingredients lists like this, that to me is a sign that that this is a highly processed food and your body will not interpret this as food. One of the main reasons I don't count calories is because when you choose quality food versus just looking at quantity, I feel like quantity becomes negligible. When your body is consistently fed food, fresh food, whole foods, not food that is not highly processed, it is naturally going to have, that homeostasis of knowing when to retain, release and retain. But um, and so and so to me, 100 calories of like, let's say, a steak or a salad or something versus 100 calories of like a granola bar with a lot of sugar in it. Those are two different things. Granted, if you want to be eating like unhealthy, I think counting calories can help with that. But if you're going to be eating healthy anyways, like I don't see the point in counting calories. If my body is going to process it differently. I think but some people they use it as a good way to track their system, to track their progress, like especially if you have a very specific goal. But if your goal is just like weight loss, just to feel good in your body, just to for your body to just be at its natural state, at its natural healthy body weight, which is what for me, like I've never counted calories in my life. If I had to do that, I would be overweight because I don't know how to do it, especially since I would say at least 60% of my diet is African food. And with whole food African dishes, psh, we don't count calories. We don't even measure like the seasonings we put in our food. So what do I look like counting how much, how much, how much jama jama, how much fufu? I just make sure I eat a lot of vegetables and protein, and it makes my life easier, and I'm able to still get the result. And it's not just me, and I've seen that with countless clients, seen that with like my brothers, they're trainers, and some of them even I've helped them with like just giving them like the simplest tips on like what I eat to maintain. And they've used that because they too didn't like the idea of counting calories. But yeah, um, so in something like this, instead of buying like canned vegetables, buy the frozen one, especially if you know that you don't cook as frequently, buy a frozen one and just season it yourself. Like a lot of these stuff, it looks like, yeah, the seasonings. You can get your own dried onions, spices, which I'm going to do a video just going through also the types of seasonings because not all seasonings are made equal. Yes, I do believe healthy food can be healthy, but you still need to be mindful of what types of food you're putting, the seasonings, because even within those little seasons like black pepper has been shown to like be good for your brain and stuff like that. So like I love me some black pepper, but I will go over in that series like just seasonings you can use without compromising of, the quality of food that you're cooking with. So yeah, in this example, just get some fresh collard greens or frozen. You're better off. Rule of thumb is when in doubt, if you can buy the whole food and cook it for yourself, even if you do like it a little sweet, it's better for you to like add your own sugar and have control over how much sugar you're putting in your food and awareness versus eating a product that, is trying to fool you about how much sugar is in that product. Um, let's see another example, like the Prego pasta sauce. And I know some of y'all like your pasta sweet. Yuck. Yuck. Um, yeah, no, we don't. I make my own pasta sauce. I don't. I've never liked this because I personally don't believe food should be sweet. But if you do like some sweet food, I just suggest making it yourself. 'Cause yeah, but if you're going to be buying your pasta sauce, look here. Look at this. Gluten-free, vegan, no fructose corn syrup. Sounds good, right? Sounds like, okay, this is like something I can get with until you look at the ingredients list. Again, if you see this, it has the um, tomato juice here. It has sugar. Why is there sugar? And then it has salt, canola oil. This is not the best oil. I would prefer stuff like olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, but seed oils like sunflower oils, like these are not the best oils to be in your food. And again, like these, you know, like I understand that this one, compared to other like processed food, this is not as bad. But then again, my thing is, why go through all of that when you can just get real tomatoes, blend it up yourself, or even like just the tomato sauce, and just add in these ingredients like onions, garlics, and skip the sugar. Like you can we always have more than opportunities to eat sugar, but like when it's in everything and how they sneakily add it to everything, and that's what makes it so addictive. Like here, this is the amount of sugar that is in it. And, this is like what, 13 grams of sugar altogether. Well, this only 4 grams of sugar was added because tomatoes that can be a little sweet. Now, if the food is naturally sweet on its own, that's different. But when you're adding sugar, you're already ruining like the food, like how good it can be. And here was like an alternative that I found that if you really want to use like your a pasta sauce, um, that is the ingredients are a bit cleaner. This is it. This is Italian whole peel tomatoes, olive oil, onions, salt, garlic, basil, black pepper, oregano. That is an example of clean ingredients list. Like, don't stop at the front of the label. Like, that's where they get us. Like, but make sure, unfortunately, we don't live in a country that will supports us in making healthier decisions. So it is up to you, like it is not your fault. It's not your fault you're obese. It's not your fault that, we live in a food desert, but it is your responsibility to go the extra mile, to want to take care of your body, to want to choose the best options for your body. And we are going to do this not from a place of force, but from a place of regulating our nervous system. So if saying some of this was like triggering, I urge you to go ground yourself, which can take some deep breaths, because sometimes like talking about food can be triggering. So yeah, like go regulate yourself and and from that state when you're grounded, just as you're shopping, this is not about perfection. Just start getting the habit of looking at what you're buying. Get curious. This is not about right or wrong. This is about like what can I do to create an optimal environment for my body so I can feel at home in my body, so my body can is now working against me. We get to work together, you know? And so, yeah, the goal is never to become obsessive over food. I personally don't, like I told you, I don't agree with the whole notion of counting calories because to me, I feel like that tends to make me. But for some people, that's not the case. Know your body. It makes me a bit neurotic, and I'm already neurotic in other parts of my life. I'm not gonna do this with this. But again, this is just simply about understanding what you're eating so you can make better choices. And knowledge removes stress. Confusion creates stress, especially in the world of like so many like different things thrown at us, especially by the food industries. Going to that section will clarify everything. And this helps, and clarity is very regulating for the nervous system. And now that you understand how ingredients lists work, the next thing you need to know is something that shocked me when I first learned it. Um, like I said earlier before, sugar has like 65 different names. Let me see if I'm going in the next episode, I'm gonna find like a list of these different names so that you can like, and if you want, I can always like have like a Google Doc that I send. So if you want that, I can always like share that with you guys. But yeah, there's so many like different types of names of sugar that I want you to even play a game with it. Like, can I spot, can I spot, where sugar is in my food? And, once you see them, you will literally start noticing them everywhere. So in the next video, I'm going to break down even more like the different ways that like um sugar shows up in food. And yeah, if this video helped you understand food, let me first stop sharing. Anyways, I don't know how to. This is my first like Zoom call thingy that I'm doing, so I'm still learning. But what I was gonna end with is if this video helped you in any way to understand food labels a little bit better, subscribe because in the next video, I'm going to show you how to spot fake protein foods, misleading diet products, and of course, sugar. I love sugar. It's my favorite thing to talk about. Um, but there's with sugar is always good to have it in moderation. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next video.